Station, this is Houston. Are you ready for the event?
Houston, we're ready.
New York Daily News. This is Mission Control, Houston. Please call station for a voice check.
Station, this is New York Daily News. How do you hear me?
I hear you loud and clear. How about us?
Hear you perfectly. On the 5 by 5. All right.
Breaker.
So, Ron, you're on the line?
I am.
It's a tough time for America right now, Ron, with the debt ceiling and 2 foreign wars. You know, lots of people down here are beleaguered and losing a little bit of hope. Now, I don't mean to start you off with a tough question, but you're in a unique position as an American, you know, up there in space. You're representing all of us and what's best in all of us. And you have a great perspective, you know, being up there in space. And I hate to start the interview like this, but I don't have a lot of time. But what would you say to your countrymen down here to try and keep their hopes up and you know, keep them pushing ahead with the American dream and what it's all about?
Well, I mean, I would simply say our country has been through a lot of tough times. You know, this is no exception. And, you know, every single time, without fail, we've pulled through it stronger than we were before. And we have a lot to be proud of. We have a wonderful nation. We have amazing accomplishments. This is one of them. This amazing facility here, this research facility, this orbital research facility, is making a big difference on Earth. And the United States of America has a big part of that, and they made a big contribution to that. Not just, you know, it's not just for the sake of science and research and space exploration, but international cooperation. This is, you know, 15 diverse nations working together to accomplish this. This is a really big deal. This is a really big accomplishment, and it's something that we should be really proud of.
Ron, talk directly to the American people. Would you say stay strong? Would you say, what would you say? You know, keep the faith.
I would say do what we've done throughout the history of our nation, and that's persevere through the tough times and to come out on the other side stronger than we were when we started. And that's what we do. That's what it is to be American.
Tough times. And stay the course. And that's what we... Ron, how do you feel about the end of the Space Shuttle program?
Well, I think I'd like to look at it as a end of a chapter in our nation's history, an end of the chapter in space exploration. And what my hopes are, and I think all of our hopes are, is that by closing this chapter, we are opening a new chapter and opening a new era in space exploration, an era which will see us leaving low Earth orbit and exploring our solar system.
And opening another one, a chapter that will see us leaving our orbit and exploring our solar system. Great. So I understand. Why is it so important to have people in space, Ron?
Well, I think space exploration is important in general, and I think it's important to have humans in space, because for a number of reasons. One is from the exploration part of it, but also because of the research part of it. I mean, we are conducting experiments on board the International Space Station that will not only enable us to go further in our exploration of space, but experiments that are making a huge difference and will make a huge difference in improving life on planet Earth. Everything from ways to provide clean water, more food, more efficient fuel efficiency, and so, you know, the list goes on and on and on of the research that is being conducted in this very, very unique place, where, you know, a place where the research being conducted here simply cannot be conducted anywhere else because of the microgravity environment.
We are conducting cannot be conducted anywhere else. What is it like to be in microgravity for 6 months?
Well, it's interesting. It's your body takes a while to get used to it, and the human body is an amazingly adaptive thing. And right after you get here, your body realizes it doesn't. It's the heart doesn't have to work as hard. The muscles don't have to work as hard. You don't need a skeleton anymore. So you start to have changes in your body that necessarily aren't so good. You start losing bone density, muscle mass, etc. So there's things that we have to do to combat that. That we have to do exercise and whatnot. But living and working in space, I mean, is just absolutely wonderful. I commute to work like Superman would. I just get out of my bed and I fly off to my job. So it's we go from and the space station is enormous. It's a huge complex. So to get from one place to the other, we're just flying around. So it's pretty interesting, and it's amazing how fast you adapt to that. And it's amazing how fast it just becomes second nature, and you don't even think about it. And then you wonder, hey, how did I just get from point A to point B? And then you trace those steps and you see all the things that your entire body did, not just your feet, your hands and your legs and everything else to get you from one place to the other. It's really a neat adaptation.
Ron, any words? I know you're a big Giant fan, for Tom Coughlin and Eli and the bunch. I mean, football season's right around the corner. What would you say to them? Talk directly to the G-man.
I think I would say that give them the same advice I gave America, and that's stay tough during the difficult times, and you'll come out stronger on the other side.
Stay tough through the difficult times, and you'll come out stronger on the other end. Did you see Derek Jeter's 3,000 hit, by the way?
I did not see that. Of course, I've obviously heard about it. That's a wonderful accomplishment, a great milestone, and I wish I was able to see it. But no, I'll get to see it when I get back to Earth.
What would you? Any message for Carmel and the kids?
Well, just I like I try and do all the time, tell them how much I love them and miss them, and how any big accomplishment or a big endeavor like this requires a lot of support from the home front, and this is really no exception. There's no way that any of us could do what we do without tremendous support from home. So just a lot of gratitude and thanks.
What's the thing that you miss the most, Ron, besides your family and your wife and kids, about Earth?
Well, it's interesting. When I got ready to fly and I realized I was going to be up here for a long time, I started noticing things like, I'd hear the sounds of the birds, or I'd hear, smell the, the flowers or whatever, and I think, I'm going to spend 6 months without hearing that sound or smelling that smell, and we have a really, really wonderful, beautiful planet, and I just miss living on Earth. It's definitely my favorite planet, and it's a wonderful, wonderful place that we need to take care of.
Last important question here. Ron, I know you're a man of faith. How does being on Earth, how does being on the space station and having that perspective of God's creation, or the Maker's creation, whatever you American believes in, how does it influence your faith, and does it influence it at all?
Well, I think it does. I mean, it does in a way that when I don't think it's possible to look at our Earth from space without being moved in some way. And when you get struck by just the indescribable beauty of our planet, and you really feel this overwhelming gratitude that we've been given this incredible gift. And it fills you with some sadness, though, too, when you think about how we've treated that gift and all the problems that we have. And I think even the HD TV doesn't do it justice to see the view that we have here, and to see how fragile it is, and to see that paper thin atmosphere, and to realize that's the only thing keeping us that's the only thing keeping every living thing on our planet alive, and how precarious it is and how fragile it is. And I don't think you can help but be moved and have this feeling of gratitude of what we've been given if you see this with your own eyes. And I wish everybody could. And I wish everybody could see this with their own eyes. So we're trying to do the best we can to help everybody see this through our eyes, and to be able to describe it as much as we can.
Ron, thanks so much, pal.
Same here. It was great talking to you. Say hi to everybody back in New York, especially in that wonderful city of Yonkers.
Station, this is Houston ACR. That concludes the New York Daily News portion of the event. Please stand by for a voice check from KBTX TV.
Station, this is KBTX TV. How do you hear me?
Station hears you loud and clear.
Excellent, guys. The Aggie hat, thank you very much. We appreciate that. We knew that was up there.
No doubt about it.
All right, here we go. Colonel Mike Fossum, Colonel Ron Guerin, we thank you very much for joining us this afternoon. First off, you two are in the midst of your first expeditions on the International Space Station, 6 months each for you guys up there. Colonel Fossum, can you tell us a little bit about some of the research and the work that the crew is doing up there?
We're in a period of transition right now on the space station. With the departure of Space Shuttle Atlantis a couple of weeks ago, we've moved out of the assembly phase and into the utilization phase. First step in that, though, is putting away the thousands of pounds of stuff that they brought up here, and we began really turning up the heat this week on getting a lot of the facilities, and in some cases it was literally turning the heat up, to begin activating a lot of the science facilities. You know, I completed a first round in a plant growth experiment today where one set of the plants were growing in zero gravity. The other set were growing in a centrifuge, spinning in exactly the same temperature and conditions, you know, at 1G to simulate being on Earth. Funny, to come up to space to simulate being on Earth. So that's just an example. We're activating a furnace facility, going through some of its stabilization checkouts right now, and really from one end to the other, we're bringing these systems up and online. At the same time, we're the guinea pigs for a lot of the studies ourselves. We're bones, muscles, those kind of things.
You gentlemen rode up on the Russian ship. It was the first time for that for you all. Can you talk about the differences between going up on a shuttle as compared to going up on a Soyuz craft?
Yeah, you know, really there is quite a difference. You know, the space shuttle is this massive, you know, vehicle that you're riding inside, and it's shaking, and it's you know, there's just tremendous amount of force. The Soyuz, on the other hand, it's a much smaller vehicle. You're crammed in there really tight, and it's almost as if you're wearing it. So you're wearing the spacecraft and you're launching it. They're both wonderful experiences, but they're very different. But I guess the common theme between the two of them is, you know, it takes a lot of energy to get something into orbit. It takes, you know, you have to propel it to the velocity of 5 miles a second. So, you know, that takes a lot of energy and a lot of force. And in both cases, you feel that there's a lot of power behind you.
Now, Colonel Guerin, before he put the hat on, I'm not sure if you were aware that Colonel Fossum was an Aggie. He may have made it abundantly clear in the last mission and the work that you guys have done on the expedition. Can you talk a little bit about how a guy from Yonkers and an Aggie get along?
Well, that's news to me. I had never known that Mike was an Aggie, but you know what we have in common is we're both Aggie dads. So you know we both have a great love of that university. I didn't get to go to that university, but we both have a great love. Yeah, well,
didn't get to go.
I didn't get to go. I could be an Aggie. So, but you know, but to balance the universe out, though, in my personal family's point of view, you know, my Aggie's identical twin is a Longhorn, so we had to balance out the equation a little bit.
So that's a house divided and a family divided and a spaceship divided, probably, with that. Talk a little bit about, Colonel, what you brought up, Aggie-related, besides the hat, if you brought anything this time.
Oh, you bet. I've got my 12-man towel for when football season starts. I've got some pennants. I've got an extra Aggie ring with me for a very dear friend, and so it happens to be a little bit of maroon up here.
Now, Texas A&M didn't land one of the retiring shuttles. They bid for it, but the engineering school is due to get a shuttle simulator. Colonel Fossum, what does that mean for the students and the instructors there, and how quickly are you going to be up to Aggie Land to help out once that simulator gets up and running?
Oh, I can't wait to get back up to Aggieland. Actually, a trip to A&M was one of the last things I did before I left Houston to go to Russia to complete the final preparations for launch out of Kazakhstan. Made a quick run up to A&M, and I can't wait to get up there and see it. I'm really excited that A&M got the shuttle simulator. That simulator was a big part of our lives, Ron's and mine together, actually, because we flew together on STS-124 3 years ago. So we spent a lot of time in that space shuttle simulator preparing for that mission. And I think it's really exciting because the students and faculty will have their hands on some real hardware that was a critical piece of our nation's space program for that particular piece of hardware for about 35, 37 years. So it's real stuff, and they can actually reprogram it to fly it as other vehicles, and it'll be a great thing to use to learn with real hands-on.
You guys watched the last shuttle come up to you and then leave for Earth one last time. What did that mean to you two, and has it even sunk in yet that the shuttle program has come to an end?
Yeah, I mean that was bittersweet. I mean, we realized that we were witnessing history unfold before us. We realized that, a chapter of our nation's history, a chapter of space exploration was closing, but we are filled with confidence and optimism that that closing of that chapter leads to the opening of a new chapter and a new era of space exploration that will see us leaving low Earth orbit and exploring the solar system.
Now, you two are both on Twitter.
Like to add,
you've been sending out messages and pictures from space. Colonel Fossum, you took some amazing shots that included the one with the northern lights going off in the sky. You watched the shuttle go back to Earth. You took those pictures, and you're sending those messages. First off, I guess, how has social media changed things for you guys up there?
Oh, it changes things because we're able to share the experience in almost real time. And that's just really, really amazing. You're not limited, and we're not limited to, the short interviews that we're able to do like this because we don't have time. But sometime in our spare time, we can put together our thoughts, send out pictures and our thoughts associated with those. And we're really, I think we both feel a deep sense of history that we're in the closing pages of a 30-year history, of the shuttle program, and we're very, very fortunate to have lived through this time. But recognizing also that most of America, most of the country, only knows us as a country that flies space shuttles on a fairly routine basis with a lot of people coming and going from space. And that chapter has ended. And so it's going to be very interesting to see how things move in the years to come.
Now, the last time you two were in space, you were joined on Discovery by Captain Mark Kelly, and obviously the Tucson shooting and his wife's injuries, they had an impact on the entire nation. Can you guys give some perspective, though, on how that incident and Mark's going through that impacted the NASA family?
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head. It is a NASA family, and I've still got my Peace, Love, Gabby bracelet on in support of her recovery and in support of the other victims of that terrible tragedy. And, we all felt that. Gabby's a dear friend of all of ours, and not just that. I mean, she's done a tremendous amount of work for her space program. She's been a big proponent of our space program. She believes how critically important space exploration is to the future of not only our country, but the world, that all affected us all personally.
The next trip for Aggieland, to Aggieland for an Aggie dad and an Aggie. When are you guys next planning on coming to College Station?
Well, I'm going to be going to a football game for sure. I don't know if Mike won't be back. Will you be back in time? Okay, he'll be back in time.
Yeah, I'll be back by the end of football season, and look forward to getting back up there to see my son and a lot of good friends up there.
Well, when you guys come back, we'd love to spend some time with you as well. But for now, have a fantastic rest of the mission and your message for Aggieland before you go.
Gig 'em, Aggies. Whoop, whoop.
Thank you, gentlemen, very much. We appreciate it, and we'll see you when you're back on Earth.
Thank you very much.
Station, this is Houston ACR. Thank you. That concludes the event.
Thank you, New York Daily News and KBTX TV. Station, we are now resuming operational communications.